Okay. So there you go. I'm sure that was Dave calling in. So anyway, we'll put it down to Dave or whichever station it was. G8YFH M1PVC. M1PVC, well, it's just thee and me, Dave. Everybody else has gone. Started quite early this morning, as we have done this week. Good signal, you're peaking 10 over, but there is a little bit of distortion on the audio, so I don't think things are quite right, but you're perfectly readable. I can. Okay, I'm not being able to go to Newbury. Well, I think the weather's going to be good, Dave, and it's one of the rallies that I rate, so I will be going there. And yes, Sonning, yeah, I will be going to Sonning as well. They're the two rallies. Historically, I used to always go to those because my son lived in Reading. He's now moved to join my son in the Cambridge area. So I've no longer got the excuse of going to Reading to go to those two rallies, but excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough. It's nevertheless, as I say, something that I've done in the past, and I found they're very good rallies. So there you go. I was going to try and get rid of a bit of junk in inverted commas, but that much that's disposable or easily disposable, and I feel I might just be taking stuff to bring it back home again, which very good, and also obviously because seller, it does rather hamper anything you buy. Because the low end would attend it. I mean, she doesn't know obviously the ins and outs, and people ask silly questions. Well, to work. To her mind, silly questions, and quite reasonable questions if you're interested in buying equipment. So I will, as I say, get rid of that spare junk elsewhere. Even the famous site. That's not my favourite though. Always, what should we say, is a problem in posting it and all the other trouble that you get into. You might get the best price, but it's not without aggravation. So we'll see anyway. This is a female auction, I suppose. So I could go in there. That's where some of it came from, back in yesteryear, when I thought I needed it. So it could. Anyway, there you go. I'm not going to hold it, Dave, because I've got the tail end now of a cold, which is progressing quite nicely. And I have been on the air some time, and I really need a cup of tea, as my throat is pretty raw. But good day, Dave, and certainly I'll be looking out for you at the rugby rally. Rugby? At the rugby club rally. G8YFH from M1PVC.
Conditions, plenty of blue sky, bright sunshine, but don't look.
And yeah, and it's not coming from me. And the problem is, I don't know where it's coming from.
Keep your speaker, but they weren't bad yesterday.
You can still hear me. I work Japan on 50 watts on a wire by.
The S is the anglicised form.
Well, it is the anglicised form, yeah. But I mean, you know, the Welsh, well, going back a long time, I would be Davies ap Griffiths, you know?
Yes, that's right. But then the English come along and say, you can't speak Welsh, boy, you've got to speak English, etc. And so it was anglicised.
Yeah. Yeah, our app is the same as Mac, you know, the Mac in Scotland, you know, son of.
Yeah, I mean, when I was living on Anglesey, and this was solid 100% Welsh speaking, apart from dopey people like myself, the local school that was built in 1900 had two entrances, boys and girls. They weren't allowed to speak English at one time, so it was boys and girls, and that was on Anglesey.
Yeah.
That's changed, of course, with the revival, and it's all solid Welsh now.
Yeah.
There you go. That's one of the first of the Griffiths.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of things. Have a good day. See you in the morning if you're about.
I will be, but we do need to get a bit of interest in amateur radio if we're going to be getting up at 4:45 in the morning.
I don't know how we're going to muster more support.
Well, send them all to bed at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They've got to do something. Anyway, goodbye. I'm going to go and quickly get dressed and take this animal out for a walk. Cheers, G4ELI.
See you, Sign. Thank you. GW3XHG.
G1 Wiley, bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay, Paul. Have a good day.
Yes, I've been listening with interest. His son was out at 4 o'clock this morning. I went out to hand him my new shed that I built out of plastic metal, you know, plastic covered metal, and I couldn't bear my hand on it at 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, because it was so hot?
Yeah, I I woke up in the start this morning at 4 o'clock. The room was just as if someone had put a light on it.
Good God.
Yeah. All the other signals on all the other QSOs on the band have almost faded down into the noise.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of activity past about 8 o'clock, signed by the sound of it. I mean, it picks up then around 9 to 10 o'clock, I've noticed.
Yeah, I see George has just started sending his pictures.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, cruel world. G4ELI.
Bye-bye, boys.
Yeah, bye-bye.
G1 Pilot, G-Town Fuel, heading for Sky, are you on Sky 4?
I am.
Right, I'll see if I can pick you up.
The yift of donkey's years. Yesterday morning it was wet. Unpleasant. So we didn't take any, the first instalment to the tip. We won't be doing that today either. But in due course, in the course next week, we'll be disposing of these piles of magazines in the hall. Some of them will be ridden by cobwebs and things. When she was sorting them out. But anyway, that's a happy job to be doing. They're jolly heavy things to cart about. Anyway, there we are, Alan. I hope everything went all right at your old men's club yesterday. GPRKQ, GPXLS.
Yes, on GPRKQ. Yes, very well. Yes, last things first, yes. It was a good meeting. It was the Fenland Daylight Lodge. Very good meeting indeed. It's a very friendly club, very friendly lodge. I say it's mostly older fellows who are not interested in progressing in the craft at all. They got where they want to get anyway. And it's just a very pleasant, friendly lot of people. And it's an enjoyable lunchtime, it really is. And I played organ, of course, in the temple, and I played piano downstairs, of course, in the dining room. So that's good, yes. Yes, the early exit this morning, you disagree on your early Terry. And of course you're the current taximan, aren't you? David's not around to do the job, so you're in demand at the moment. And all right about the continuum medical website problem. Yes, it is a nuisance when they change things, As I was saying to Nina yesterday, the old adage is if it ain't broke, don't mend it. And it worked perfectly well before. Nina looked on the website yesterday too. She wanted to check up on some previous prescriptions that she'd had about 2 or 3 years ago. And you used to be able to look on the website and you could find out all the prescription orders that you'd had over the years. Anyway, for some reason, she can't do it. So the website obviously hasn't got that facility anymore. Either that or she's not sure how to operate it, I don't know. But anyway, so it's not, she's not happy with it anyway. She said the site isn't quite as user-friendly, I think the expression is, as it used to be. So it's like everything else, Terry, as I was saying, computers are getting so complicated and causing so much problems these days. I think it's time that we patch them up altogether. I notice that the Minister for Education and the chief of Ofcom is saying that mobile telephones should be banned from schools altogether because they're a destructive influence. Of course they are. It's logical, isn't it? I think it's France that has banned them within the school premises altogether, not even in the schoolyard, I think. So see what happens there. And all right about David's magazine. there. Yes, well, you know, Margaret started that off the other day, didn't she? So she'll be making courage. Spiders and cobwebs in there, eh? Oh dear, that proves a point, I think, doesn't it? Oh dear. And yes, today is the longest day, isn't it? So the nights will start to close in again, won't they? So that'll be interesting. Yes, Nina's very sceptical about visiting the dentist today. She had a very nasty experience when she was a young girl at school, and it left her with a tremendous fear of dentists. Fortunately, the dentist that we have, she's a Polish woman, and she's very, very good and kind and pleasant, and she puts Nina at ease. So when she gets there, she'll be all right. But she said, would I drive there, please? Because she's rather distracted from driving by her fear of the dentist visit. Oh dear. And I'll just do a very early notice story. I shall not be on the air a week on Friday. I'll be all right tomorrow, no problem. But a week on Friday, I'll not be on the air because I've got to go to hospital for a biopsy. I've got a slight prostate problem, and I think they're going to look to see what the problem is, or what it isn't, in actual fact. So I'll confirm that near the time anyway, just to jog your memory there. So that's the drill, Terry, here. The sun has gone in, and the clouds seem to be intensifying. So, and the wind's blowing like Bellio, so it might be cool. And I've put my summer clothes up this morning as well. Good gracious me. Dodge Law, GTXLS, G3RPQ.
Yeah, G3RQ. Oh dear. G3RKQ, G3XLS. Well, I wear my summer clothes every day, Alan. I wear my winter clothes every day. Draw your own conclusions from that. Anyway, yes, understood about next Friday. A week tomorrow, the 28th. No, the 29th, isn't it? Anyway, it's a Friday. So, I'll be saving electricity that day. The tide is about, I don't know, it might just have turned. It's low tide anyway. We're just past springs, and high tide has progressed to, I don't know, middle of the afternoon, which means it's probably falling now at that rate, because it will be middle of the early morning when it was high earlier on. But as Margaret's just arrived, she's about to strip the bed, I think, ready for changing, and she's pointing out there's plenty of sand to be seen. But it's pleasant enough looking out there, but it'll be a bit nippy in the wind, I think. Due to get warmer, there'll be a warm weekend, and probably warm next week. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. David, on some day or other, may have taken place already, we'll be visiting Windermere. There's always a trip to Windermere, and they have a trip on one of the boats. And I mean, he's used to that, but it's always a pleasant sort of thing to do. So he's got that either to look back or forward at. What else he might be doing, I don't know. They do plenty of short trips. They have a small fleet of minibuses, and they arrange things on a bit of an ad hoc basis for some of them. Others are planned and cost money to attend. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be plowing his own. I was going to say plowing his own canoe. I'll leave it at that. But can't think of anything much else to say, really. As I say, I'll perhaps have one more over and then depart. I don't know when we'll get the proper paper. When I rang up the newsagents to report the wrong one, I forgot to say we hadn't got the Lancaster Guardian. We've for a week or two we were regularly getting the Morecambe Visitor, which is it's almost identical to the Guardian, but it has different bits of news in. we don't take the Visitor. We do take the Guardian. But the Guardian hadn't arrived this morning either. So it seems to be a string of irritations. Our friend came along yesterday afternoon. He's not very happy. He had his IOPS done, and he's had his eyes retested, and he's got new specs, and the new specs don't do anything for him. There's very, very. I don't know about your whatever you have, but with his post-operative eyes, he shouldn't expect particularly strong specs, but the reading bits are not much good. The distant ones, of course, are almost plain glass, I suppose. He presented me with his specs to try, and I found that I could read just about through the very bottom bits, but he's not doing very well with them. He's gone to a new optician who is nearer to his home for access reasons, and they assure him that, well, that's the best they can do, and they're very focused, of course, but he's unhappy about those, and he's got other problems, and he's now going to give up driving and get rid of his car because for age reasons he's aware of his own shortcomings and limitations when it comes to driving, particularly with his eyes being awkward. So come the end of the year, his driving license will expire and need to be, well, if it were going to carry on driving, to be renewed. So and he was worrying about how most easily he might be able to sell his car, and he'd give it away to give it a good home. It's quite old, I've forgotten its year. It's 1997, something like that. 1996, 1997. Small Citroën. When they came back from Canada, David and I took him out looking at, well, the intention of looking at car sales places to get himself a car. And we arrived at this particular place, and there, in the forecourts, was in a row of small cars, was this little car, and I said, well, there's that one you could look at. So, being the person he is, right, I'll have that one, he said, sort of thing. Wasn't interested in being taken anywhere else. So that's what he got. And it looks like new. If you look under the bonnet, it looks like new. It's not because he polishes it or anything, or at least not under the bonnet. But so it will be worth a little bit, but not a lot, as you can imagine. It hasn't done a great mileage in it. But there's the usual sort of place just down the road which says, we buy cars for cash. And I suggested he could ask them. And he wants odd jobs doing around the garden, which he can't do himself these days, as you might imagine. And I've had age concern suggested to me a long time ago by our old blind friend who died some months ago. So I've suggested that to him. He went away happy at the thought of hopefully getting rid of his car to the garage down the road and getting little jobs done by age concern. Whether he'll succeed, I don't know, of course. But anyway, he seems to be overcome by various jobs that he couldn't do himself and he didn't know how to perform. You can imagine the state of mind. Somebody, 92 and beginning to find the world collapsing around them. G3RKQ, G3XLS.
G3RKQ, yes, well, at 92, itself, Frank is getting on a bit now, but I suppose it might be if he feels the time has come to relinquish his driving licence, that's a sensible thing to do. And maybe he'd be better off if he got some bifocals instead of varifocals, Terry. I tried the varifocals last change, if you remember, and I tried them for a month and I just couldn't get on with them at all, so I went back to bifocals, and they're ideal for reading, of course, so maybe Frank would be nice to have a word with them about that. But anyways, at least he had his cataract operation completed, and his long distance sight is pretty reasonable, that now. But relinquishing his driving licence is probably a good idea if he feels that's the time, and get rid of his Citroen. It's all right about David and his Windermere boat trip and other trips. He'll be enjoying himself, I'm sure. I'm just hoping the weather's good for him, that's all. But it does him good to get away with with old friends, doesn't it? And I mean, we always remember David, who was young, of course, but of course he's 54 now, isn't he? So he's not a young lad anymore, is he? You know, it's funny how as we get ancient ourselves, we don't realise everybody else is growing older as well. You know, I mean, our eldest daughter's 60 this year in August. So it makes us feel very ancient. Of course, we are very ancient, let's face it. I'll let you know about this prostate thing anyway, Terry, as time goes on. That's the week on Friday. And we've got background crowds again this morning, but they're not causing any problem. Your signal's between string 5 and string 7, Terry. There's quite a QSB, but you've not dropped below string 5 up to now, so I've been copying me satisfactorily. So anyway, what time is it now? It's what is it? Time you're getting off, Terry? Maybe you'll tell me when you're ready for going, won't you? And we'll just pack it up straight away, because you've got things to do. And I've got to show the taxi driver at the moment, aren't you? Taking Monica all over the place and so on. And if Margaret's still in the bedroom there, well, good morning, Margaret. I heard Terry say that you were there, so good morning to you. GPXLS, SDRPlay RSP2.
Yeah, well, she's disappeared into the nether regions at the minute, Alan. G3RKQ, G3XLS. Yeah, well, I'll make this a final, and I can get away in a fairly comfortable time then. And we can do our duty round the estate and then back in the direction of Lancaster. I'm still not entirely happy with the new road system in Lancaster. I don't go often enough. I've only been, I think, once since it was re-established for these repairs to Greyhound Bridge, which go on until next month or the month after. You know, I don't go often. I don't want to go, and I don't go often enough to fully understand whether I'm on the right road or not, or in the right lane or whatever. Everything's topsy-turvy. Never mind, we'll get it. It will all be over and done with in due course. Of course, David's the expert, but he's unavailable. So, not much else to say, really. Yeah, I hadn't thought of whether the bifocals would suit Frank better. He can't see properly through, presumably, the more distant things. He says he has to sit within 3 or 4 feet of the television set, which is a 32-inch. And he has to, you know, get his nose into the screen pretty well to be able to distinguish people's features, which is not good. Every day he records the 6 o'clock news. He has to record it because at that time his sort of Canadian son is ringing him. Very good, really, of him to ring. He rings daily at tea time. It's not his tea, it's his just after lunch sort of time from Toronto area. But so he records the news so that he can watch that when he's not got the son to distract him. But he's in trouble with that, and of course it spoils his enjoyment. He's little else to do except sit and watch the box, and he can't do that comfortably. So anyway, suppose that sort of state comes to most of us, one way or another. But anyway, we shall get reports in due course. Margaret rings him weekly to check how it's going on. We're on his sort of rescue list. We've got a key to his bungalow, and he has one of these alarm things whereby he can push a button and make contact with the outside world if he has an accident or anything. Apparently he has to ring on his birthday number of each month to check that the thing is working, which is not a bad idea. Well, he's got that, but we are sort of backstop because he's no family. Well, he has a son-in-law who lives down Bolton way. He had a daughter who died. She had MS, and they had